Static word vectors gave bank, the thing next to a river, and bank, the thing that holds your money, one vector, the average of two completely different meanings, blurred together into a single point in space. NLP found this acceptable for 5 years. Then it didn't. This is polysemy. One word, multiple meanings, and it turns out to be one of the trickiest problems in all of language. Today, how it broke Word2Vec and Glove, and why the fix next video changed NLP forever. Last video I showed you how to compare vectors. Cosine similarity. 5 lines of code, which lets you rank 2 words by how alike they are. Powerful stuff. But now I have to tell you the awkward truth. That ranking assumes each word has a single vector. And for a lot of words in English, it doesn't, or shouldn't. The puzzle for today. A word like bank has at least 2 distinct senses. Riverbank, financial bank. Word2Vec and Glove give you one 300-dimensional vector for bank. What ends up in that vector? And what breaks when you try to use it? Today's 3 beats. First, what polysemy is, and the bank example, concretely. Word senses in your dictionary right now. Second, why static embeddings average meanings together, and what that means for real applications. Third, word sense disambiguation, the old NLP subfield that tried to fix this, why it stalled, and the 2018 breakthrough that changed everything. Beat 1, polysemy. From the Greek, poly meaning many, sema meaning sign, one word carrying multiple related or unrelated meanings. Open your dictionary to bank. Look at the entry. Sense 1, the sloping land beside a river. Sense 2, a financial institution. Sense 3, a row or tier of something, like a bank of monitors. Sense 4, to tilt an aircraft. Same spelling, same pronunciation. 4 completely different concepts. And bank is not a weird edge case. Take the word run. Merriam-Webster lists over 600 distinct senses. Set, over 400. Take, hundreds. English has thousands of polysemous words. Chinese and Japanese and Arabic, same story. Every natural language does this. Because it's efficient, humans reuse sounds. We let context pick the meaning. Linguists have a formal resource for this. It's called WordNet. Built at Princeton in the 80s by George Miller. WordNet groups English words into synonym sets called synsets, one synset per distinct meaning. Bank has 10 synsets in WordNet, 10, every single one a different concept, and that database is open, free, and still used today. Beat 2. Here's where static embeddings break. Word2Vec trains on a big corpus. Every time bank appears, its vector gets nudged. If bank appears near river, the vector moves toward river. If bank appears near money, the vector moves toward money. Do that hundreds of thousands of times. What you end up with is the average of both meanings, a vector that's kind of near both, and kind of near neither. Now imagine you're building a search engine. Someone types best bank in town. Your embedding pulls up documents about riverside real estate, Chase, Wells Fargo, and a kayaking blog, all roughly equally relevant to your muddy gray bank vector. That's not a bug, that's the direct mathematical consequence of averaging 2 meanings. The averaging problem is worst when the 2 senses are frequent and far apart in meaning. Bank, bat, the flying mammal versus the baseball club. Bass, the fish versus the low musical note. Run, 600 senses averaged into 1 point. For rare words with 1 dominant sense, it's fine. For common polysemous words, the vectors are half useless. Beat 3. NLP saw this problem coming, long before Word2Vec even existed. Since the 1950s, there's been an entire subfield called word sense disambiguation, WSD for short. Given a sentence and a polysemous word, figure out which sense is being used. Rule-based systems, dictionary lookups, statistical models, every technique in the toolkit. But WSD stalled, because the accepted approach was build a giant labeled dataset where humans manually mark every word sense in every sentence, which is expensive, which is slow, and which turns out to have inter-annotator agreement problems. Even trained linguists disagree on which sense of bank is being used in some sentences, and even when they agreed, WSD accuracy topped out around 75%. Not enough for production. So NLP just kind of accepted static embeddings for 5 years. From Word2Vec in 2013 through the mid-2010s. Everyone knew bank was blurry. Nobody had a scalable fix. Until 2018, when a small team at the Allen Institute for AI released a model called ELMO. And ELMO said, what if the vector for bank changes depending on the sentence around it? Same word, different context, different vector. And that changed everything. Next video. 3 takeaways before the quiz. 1. Polysemy. One word, many meanings. Bank has 10 synsets in WordNet. Run has 600 senses in Merriam-Webster. Every natural language does this. 2. Static embeddings average all the senses into one vector, muddy gray. The consequence, search and classification blur across meanings that shouldn't touch. 3. WordSense disambiguation tried to fix it for 60 years, stalled at 75%. Then ELMO said the vector should depend on the sentence. And 1. Next video. Quiz 1. What is polysemy? A. A word with no meaning. B. A word with multiple distinct meanings sharing one spelling. C. A word borrowed from another language. Or D. A word that changed meaning over time. B. Multiple meanings, one spelling. Bank has 10 senses in WordNet. Run has 600 in Merriam-Webster. Poly plus sema, many signs. Every natural language uses one form for many concepts because it's efficient. Context does the disambiguating. Quiz 2. Why do static embeddings struggle with polysemy? A. They can't handle Greek roots. B. They give each word one vector, averaging all senses into one muddy point. C. They only work in English. Or D. They forget rare words. B. Averaging. Word2Vec sees bank next to river, moves the vector toward river. Then sees bank next to money, moves the vector toward money. What you get is the average, kind of near both meanings, close to neither. Search engines built on those vectors mix riverside real estate with financial services. Quiz 3. How did NLP fix polysemy? A bigger dictionaries. B. ELMO in 2018 made the vector depend on sentence context, same word, different context, different vector. C. Manual annotation. Or D. They never fixed it. B. ELMO. Peters et al. 2018 at Allen AI. Before ELMO, bank had one vector no matter what. After ELMO, bank in Riverbank and bank in Central Bank get different vectors. Context in, vector out. That single move broke the polysemy blur and set up the transformer era. Next video walks it in detail. Back to the puzzle. Static embeddings were amazing for what they were, but they had a ceiling, and the ceiling was called bank, or run, or set. Every polysemous word in the language. 60 years of WordSense disambiguation. Then one 2018 paper walked in and said, just make the vector depend on the sentence. Next video, ELMO. Next time, ELMO. The 2018 paper from Allen AI that made every word vector context-dependent. By LSTMs. Sentence-level embeddings. Benchmark records falling in weeks. And the bridge from static embeddings to modern transformers. Hit subscribe.